Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard, and thank you for watching today's Corn Belt Regional Forecast brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. As we check in with the jet stream here early on Friday morning, we've really got a mess across the central U.S., but we'll be watching this next wave that's going to come blasting in on the Pacific Northwest into the northern plains. And that's going to be the next weather maker here across the central United States in any kind of big fashion. Here it comes blasting into the northern plains here. This would be the look on Monday. As we head into early next week, we'll talk about how that all evolves here as we go through this video. So looking at the temperature forecast over the next 10 days, continuing to watch cooler conditions across the entire Corn Belt really over the next 5 days, and then a reinforcing shot of that comes in the 6 to 10 day time frame here as we reach the end of August. The first few days of September really look like a cool start to September here across the Corn Belt. The precipitation forecast, we're looking at the GFS ensemble on the left, the European ensemble on the right. We do see some similarities in here. I do lean more toward the look that we have on the European model in terms of drier conditions in this region. You see the wetter corridor from the Canadian Prairie here, part of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, coming down here into the Central Plains, with then a significant precipitation expected across parts of the Ozarks here, southeast Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri, with drier conditions again here across the northeast region into parts of the eastern Corn Belt and the Great Lakes region. I do think that this dryness will be a little bit more defined, a little bit more intense than we see here over on the GFS ensemble, and we'll take a look at some of this in more detail as we head through this forecast video as well. Now, over the last 24 hours, we've watched this frontal boundary slowly making its way southward across the region, bringing showers and storms to parts of the eastern Corn Belt. Here's southern Illinois and Indiana. We even had some cold air funnel clouds develop with some of the showers and storms along the front as it sinks south across the region here across parts of central Illinois yesterday. And this frontal boundary extends back to the north across parts of the northern plains, and we'll continue to watch thunderstorms in this region over the next couple of days, as well as off to the south where we're dealing with some heavy rain in that region. The latest drought monitor, this came out on August 20th. We're continuing to watch an area of some young and budding drought across parts of the eastern Corn Belt here, Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. We did take a complex of thunderstorms across this region here on Tuesday, the day that this was released. So this data not likely including that precipitation from the thunderstorms that tracked across the region on Tuesday. But I put this together looking at the 30-day precipitation percent of normal through August 16th and then through August 21st, including those thunderstorms that traveled across this region right now. And you do see it did put a dent in there, but still overall looking at a lot of dryness in this region. And again, the forecast over the next 7 days or so continues to look dry in this region. So I do think we'll continue to see at least low-end drought across this region here of Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana as we head through the next week or two. So you look at the satellite picture here on Friday morning. Again, you can see that frontal boundary extending through the northeast region, parts of the Ohio River Valley, through the central plains, and then back towards the high plains, watching this area of low pressure kind of spin away here. And that will keep the threat of severe weather in this region and the threat for some heavy rain off to the south. So you look at the radar picture then, checking in with what's going on. Again, you draw the frontal boundary right there, continuing to watch some showers and storms ahead of that area of low pressure across parts of Montana, some strong storms across parts of Kansas and Nebraska early this morning, and then heavy rain and thunderstorms across parts of the south here, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then far southeast Kansas and southern Missouri. There's a particularly intense storm right now across parts of central Nebraska. It is this one right. Let's go ahead. Let's go back right here. We'll take a zoomed in look here across central Nebraska. Here is Lincoln, just to get your bearings here, and then Interstate 80 travels along like this. But really an intense thunderstorm early this morning, producing some gusty winds. And early on, it even had a bit of a supercellular look. If I go to the beginning of this loop here, taking it all the way back to the very beginning, there it is. Seeing a little bit of a little hook shape there and a more supercellular look. As we head through the end of this loop, though, kind of takes on a bow appearance, a little compact bow echo, and that, again, I'm going to bring the threat for some strong winds. I don't think this lasts a whole lot longer. I'm not expecting it to really take off into a big MCS and race off to the southeast, but at least over the next hour or two, watching for the threat of maybe some gusty winds and some large hail across parts of southeastern Nebraska. Here's the frontal picture here on Friday morning again. That frontal boundary, or the frontal picture here on Friday morning. I think I'm tripping over my words. Maybe I got it out correctly, but again, anyway, Friday morning, that look, again, showers and storms along this boundary all the way from the Ohio River Valley back through the Ozarks, the central plains, back up towards the high plains. And as we go through the next 3 days, this doesn't change a whole lot. We'll watch for this area of high pressure to kind of move off to the east slightly. But as we look at the picture here on Sunday, again, here's that area of high pressure off to the east. The frontal boundary a little bit further to the south, still extending back up towards the high plains. And about this time, we'll watch for that next wave to come pushing in from the northwest. And that's going to develop an area of low pressure right around here and bring this front back towards the east. That's going to bring our next chance for rain across parts of the central and eastern Corn Belt. And how good of a chance that rain chance, or how big that rain chance is going to be, unfortunately, I think is going to be rather disappointing in some of these drier areas. The severe weather forecast for the next 3 days here is Friday again. That frontal boundary up through here, that area of low pressure right in this region, again keeping the threat for severe storms on parts of the high plains here, eastern Colorado, western Kansas, western Nebraska. As we look at the day on Saturday, watching for a marginal risk here across parts of the northern plains, the central plains, and then a similar look as we get to Sunday. Again, this frontal boundary just kind of stays like this, and so that is again going to keep the thunderstorm threat the highest in this region as we head through the weekend until we get that next wave, that next upper level wave to come in early next week and start to get this frontal boundary moving from west to east. It's really going to be a lot of the same as we head through the weekend. The high resolution rapid refresh, this will take us through the day here on Friday. Again, watching for thunderstorms to flare up in this region as we get into the afternoon. That's where the severe weather threat is going to be the highest, but showers and storms are going to be possible along that boundary all the way across parts of Missouri, Arkansas, and then into portions of the southeast. The high resolution NAM model, this will take us a little bit further. We'll go ahead and we'll go through time with this one day by day. Again, where's the frontal boundary? That's where our best chance of showers and storms is going to be. As we head through the afternoon here on Friday, watching for scattered thunderstorms to flare up again across the high plains. This is where the risk of severe storms is going to be the highest. The high resolution NAM perhaps trying to take an MCS through parts of eastern Colorado into western Nebraska and Kansas. So watch out for the potential for some damaging winds in that area. Maybe some large hail with some of the stronger storms as well. These thunderstorms kind of die out as we head into the overnight, but on Saturday, watching for the flare up of some scattered storms again along that frontal boundary from the southeast into the central plains and the far northern plains. Maybe a low risk of a strong storm in this region, a low risk of a strong storm where we had those marginal risks on the day 2 severe weather outlook. And then as we head into the day on Sunday, that boundary hasn't moved a whole lot. The thunderstorm chances may be inching ever so slowly off to the east as we get to Sunday afternoon, this time looking at maybe the northern plains, the upper Midwest, parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, into Iowa and Missouri by the time we get to Sunday. The total precipitation forecast here from the high resolution NAM model, again keeping it drier in this region, showers and storms along and south of that frontal boundary as we head through the days Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Keeping it cooler and less humid across that drier region as well of the eastern Corn Belt and the Great Lakes. Area of the stalled out upper level low keeping, or the area of high pressure, need another cup of coffee this Friday morning, keeping clockwise flow going across the region, keeping cooler and less humid air pumped into the region as we talk about the Great Lakes here, Wisconsin, Michigan, south into Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, keeping dew points in the 50s. That's going to lead to crisp overnights and some really mild, pleasant afternoons that are going to feel almost autumn-like, but it's a drier pattern again, kind of bringing precipitation to an end. We had a few days there with rain in the forecast across this region, which felt awfully nice, but that will be coming to an end here, at least until we get to early next week. As we move ahead now, we'll take a look at the European forecast then taking us into next week. And again, we'll step through time with this. I mentioned, though, we're going to be watching the northwest for the next wave to come punching in. Here's the frontal boundary as we start off now, this area of high pressure off to the north, keeping things drier and cooler across the Great Lakes and the eastern Corn Belt. We'll take the drawings off and take a look at where we're headed, though, as we head in through the weekend. Again, here's your shower and storm chances across the northern and the central plains as we head through Saturday and then Sunday. And then here comes this next wave punching in from the northwest. By the time we get to early next week, kicking off an area of low pressure across the Canadian Prairie with a front extending off to the south there. So showers and storms possible, Minnesota, Wisconsin, into Iowa and the Central Plains, eastward into parts of the eastern Corn Belt on Monday, and then that chance continues as we get into Tuesday. Now, unfortunately, this rain chance is not going to be like what we saw over the last few days with the slow-moving frontal boundary. This is really going to be more of a here it comes and there it goes. Here it comes, there it goes situation as this frontal boundary moves west to east. It'll really be kind of a one-off shot to get some rain across this region, which is why I do think that it mostly ends up probably disappointing for a lot of people as we talk about the forecast Monday through Tuesday. Can't say that for sure just yet, but that's what it looks like to me right now. Maybe just one quick wave of showers and storms that are likely going to be scattered in nature, leaving some people out to dry as we head through the Monday and Tuesday forecast. And then unfortunately, for those who do want rain, high pressure moves in on the backside. Good news for those who just want beautiful sunshine and pleasant temperatures. But high pressure on the backside going to keeping dry things back out as we get into the later part of next week. So we take a look at the instability forecast here. Where are we talking about the severe weather? Well, as we head through the weekend, if I can get the scroll to pop up here, we'll come back to the beginning. Heading through Friday then, obviously the higher instability coming back up, filtering back up through the high plains here along that frontal boundary. So the severe weather forecast going to be highest across the northern plains as we head through Friday and Saturday. Taking this into Sunday. Monday, now that front starting to move west to east across the region, getting into Tuesday, but really pretty meager instability across this region. Right now, my severe weather, hopes or feelings, not that high across the central and eastern Corn Belt. A low risk of strong storms possibly across Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana Monday and Tuesday. Maybe a slightly higher risk just off to the south where we've got some slightly higher instability. But again, a real quick west-to-east progression with that front, bringing showers and storms to the region. Here they will come, and then there they will go Monday and Tuesday. This will kind of show the picture here. The total precipitation forecast as we go through the next week, pretty unimpressive as we look at that dry corridor from Iowa to Indiana. And again, that's because we're dry as we head through the weekend. Here's the total precipitation all the way through Sunday. So for the weekend, precipitation along and south of that frontal boundary, do something more like this. So dry in this region through the weekend. Elsewhere, keeping showers and storms in the forecast here, maybe some severe weather even from the Dakotas, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, and then off to the east towards the East Coast. Now we'll go ahead, we'll play this out Monday and Tuesday. You'll watch the frontal boundary move from west to east, just bringing a quick hitting wave of precipitation across the region. So here goes Monday and Tuesday, and there it goes. It's done now. And again, this region here that was dry through the weekend, really picking up only isolated and scattered precipitation as we head through that frontal passage Monday and Tuesday. So really the next week looking pretty dry. It's really going to be what you get on Monday and Tuesday is what you're going to get over the next week as we talk about this area of the eastern Corn Belt. The temperature forecast now, the temperature anomaly forecast again. In this region, we'll be watching for a lot of blues and greens as this high pressure keeps cooler and less humid air pumped into the Great Lakes and the eastern Corn Belt. But then again, we'll be watching for cooler air across Canada to come in on the heels of this next wave during the early to mid part of next week. So really a cooler forecast across the entire Corn Belt. I'll just let it play out there as we focus in on this region. A lot of blue and green, and that is a lot of 5 to 15 degree temperature anomalies as we head through the next week. So really a cooler forecast across a big chunk of the Corn Belt. This map tells it all now. The European ensemble probability of rainfall over 1 inch over the next week. So taking it out the next 7 days, where's your probability of getting an inch of rainfall going to be the highest? Well, it's off to the north, Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And then when we talk about the lower 48 here, it's parts of the central plains getting into the southeast, but that chunk of the eastern Corn Belt here pretty low. I'd call that less than a 25% chance of picking up an inch of rain, and that is just going to be because that frontal boundary quickly moves west to east, bringing just a smattering of showers and storms to the area just very quickly, and then it's out of here. So if you're looking for an inch of rain, unfortunately, not much of that to be found across the Corn Belt. To take the drawings off and just kind of highlight the Corn Belt, from memory across this region here, really, again, not looking great as we look across the region here for a significant rainfall, especially in this very dry corridor. We'll finish it up then with the temperature forecast over the next 5 days. Your high temperatures, a lot of upper 70s across the region here for the day on Friday. Again, cooler air being pumped into the region for much of the weekend. So that should continue here Saturday and Sunday. High temps in the 70s across the region. As that next wave makes its way through, we'll have the front kind of extending across the region. That does bring some warm air advection into parts of the eastern Corn Belt, warming up slightly here Monday and Tuesday. But already watching that cooler air to come pumping in on the backside. You see highs in the 60s and 70s across the northern plains on Monday, cooler even on Tuesday. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday morning forecast, ag forecast video, and I'll have your next check-in with the Corn Belt on Tuesday morning. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.